Hey, it's Apache here, and today we're going to be once again talking about a controversial topic in the FPS gaming community, right? So, players around the world are still bumping heads about how controller is legal aimbot and how mouse and key players have the ability to harness every muscle fiber in their arm, on which both these opinions are very wrong. They're not, but they are, right? So, firstly, we are going to speak on the advantages and disadvantages of both inputs, like simplistically. Keep in mind, I have years of experience on both. Let's try not to, belittle anybody's opinions now, right? Not everything I say is hard truth, but it's like I feel like it's very, very true. So, mouse and keyboard players, right? They have the advantage of being able to turn at varying speeds. What this means is that they can turn very quickly, as well as they can make small adjustments. And then from my experience as well, as an MnK player, primarily now, I'm able to hold very tight angles as well, which is nice in a lot of scenarios that you wouldn't be able to hold with a controller. So, in short, they have more overall control. But with that comes the need to actually control those movements. So, just because you can make them doesn't mean you can control them and get value out of them. So, the con, I would say, to MnK basically is with more control comes more responsibility. I think Stan Lee says something along those lines. But you won't just aim better by being on mouse and keyboard. If you're not used to aiming on your own, and if you have the the hand-eye coordination of a 2-year-old, you're still going to struggle. I've been on MnK for years now, and I'm still nowhere near my peak. Because there's a lot of variables that go into that. Practicing, specifically training your raw aim and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not just you switch and you just get better. Like there's a lot of work that needs to be put in, and I can say that for both inputs. But this is just more so to like reinforce the fact that just because you're on MnK, you're just not a laser beam. All right, so now we can talk about our good old friend, the Intimus controller, a friend to us all, a symbol of our childhood. The good old Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, blah blah blah. On a serious note, though, Roller has insane close range potential with aim assist, and even has a higher headshot percentage. I promise you, you can call cap whatever. I don't care. I promise you, I hit way more headshots on controller, way more. And in games where headshot multipliers are a thing and they matter, it matters, right? Um, so the sad part about it though is the more range you put between you and your opponent, this advantage starts to dwindle, and in some cases, it goes away. For example, on Apex with a charge rifle, you do not get aim assist. So like you need to raw aim with a controller at range. And it's not the easiest thing. I'll be real. I did it the other day and I was like, wow, this sucks. So keep that in mind. By plugging into a controller, you're not gonna win every fight. The crazy thing is you still need to be a good player, same with mouse and keyboard, right? To win fights. And the same thing, I mean this is actually different, but like good luck when an enemy jumps over your head and you gotta take 5 years to turn around. You know what I'm saying? So like it's because you're on controller. If somebody executes movement pretty well, like you're at a disadvantage because they're behind you and you got to turn around, and it's not going to happen instantaneously compared to when you're on MnK, right? So, um, yeah. So now, but that doesn't mean that every time somebody uses any type of movement, you just lose. Because I've tap strafed and got ripped to shreds. But so now that I've kind of meme explained the advantages and stuff in a simple way, I guess I want to stress that like no input is just superior to the other. Like overall, one is just not by far better, right? So what's going to decide which is better is going to vary on game and in-game mechanics. If a game has lower vertical mobility and primarily plays on a horizontal plane with plenty of opportunities to have close range engagements, right? That game will cater more towards controller unless aim assist just doesn't exist, right? Like if there's a game with no aim assist but has like all these things that controller has an advantage in, but then you take away aim assist and you know what I'm saying, like it doesn't add up, right? So compared to a game with like faster movements and an abundance of vertical gameplay and lots of long range engagements, this game will cater more towards MnK. So some examples of games that I played that cater to one input over the other, I would say COD, Call of Duty, it will be more of a controller game. Valorant, it's an MnK game. And for people saying, well, you can only play MnK. No, you can play controller, but you're not going to have aim assist, and it's going to feel like trash. There's like some settings you can mess with and use a controller, but it's horrible decision. Apex controller. I want to say this game's more neutral, but like controller, because in a scenario where you run up on somebody and you don't know their controller, you're getting ripped. R6, MnK. Rollers typically just don't even stand a chance. And before you say there's no crossplay, blah blah blah, most high ranked players on console currently use a mouse and keyboard. Not all of them. I'm not gonna belittle them, but like my brother still plays console R6, and I watch him play. A lot of you motherfuckers are still using, or well, not still, are using mouse and keyboard on a game that's on a platform, whatever. I don't know what the word would be, that you're supposed to be playing on a controller. Cheating, but whatever. But yeah, so like in that game, since there's no aim assist and people are able to use MnK, they're abusing the hell out of it, and they're just winning more games because of it, even if they're not that great, because console doesn't have that aim assist. There's a lot of long lines of sights. There's a lot of pixel peaks, a lot of tight angles that are really hard to adjust to compared to somebody who can just like slowly move their mouse. You know what I'm saying? So last game, Halo controller, very low mobility, very horizontal gameplay. So yeah, and I could probably find a lot more examples in these, but this should be more than enough. But with this being said, like just because a game does cater more to one input than the other doesn't mean the other input is irrelevant. Because there will always be a reason to run the opposing input. That's why in Apex you see a lot of hybrid teams at a high level, not just full MnK or full controller. They will typically have at least one of each, right? Because like controller players will specialize in fighting up close, but then again, you don't want to not have somebody who can deal with people from far away, and things like that. Or in a game like Paladins, where like controller hit scans were so good that even full MnK teams were picking up controller hit scans, because it's like that was such an advantage to have one that not having one was kind of dumb. So yeah, I think the real issue though, across the board, is crossplay and a lack of transparency. In the sense of you don't know who's on what input until you're dead. So you don't have any time to figure out if you should, basically how you should play an engagement, whether you should force it up close or keep distance. Unless there's a way for players to lock their inputs on, across all games when it comes to playing like, ranked and stuff like that, there will always be that random factor of like that guy you're about to fight, you just don't know what he's on unless you'll take a poke fight and that gives it away, or you're dead. So yeah. This this really wasn't intended to be like a super long video. It was more so of just I'm gonna spit my ideas and like some facts out there for people. As someone who's played on both inputs, and to start like a healthy conversation and to hear more people's thoughts about it. Well, I hope everybody has a great day. Sub and like stay up to date with me, and like the video if you enjoy hearing me talk. But other than that, guys, just keep in mind, man. Controller isn't legal aimbot in all scenarios. Mouse and keyboard players don't have the power of the avatar. Like there's pros and cons to both, and it sucks that like there's no way of telling who you're playing against when it comes to like games where you just run into people like BRs. And it sucks when you die to an input and you don't know what they were on until you're dead, and it's like, man, like if I just knew, I could have played that better. A good example was when I played competitive Paladins. Like before the game would start, if the team asked you what input you were on, you had to tell them. You had to declare your input, and you couldn't change it until the next game, so that the team knew going into the game how you probably were going to be playing based off of that information. You know what I'm saying? But there's no way of doing that. You can't just put like an icon on someone's head or someone's chest or whatever. Or I don't know. Maybe you can make them glow a different color. I don't know. But those are dumb ideas. But yeah. I really hope you guys have a great day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my little like talk. But definitely comment down below. Throw some ideas out there. Talk about it. Tell me I'm trash. I don't fucking care. But just talk. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Love y'all.